Welcome to Ask Me Anything, featuring spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kellee White.
Hi, everybody. I'm spiritual medium and psychotherapist and author Kellee White, and welcome to Ask Me Anything for October 9th, 2025. How's everybody doing? I'm going to say hi to a few people, and then I have, as usual, a lot to say. Has this energy been something? I usually start off that way because it continues to baffle me, the energy. But here we go. Let me say hi to a few people. Hi, Miranda. Yes, give a shout out to today. John Lennon would have been 85 years old today. Hard to imagine. Thanks, Miranda, for letting me know that. I'd forgotten about that. They had a lovely celebration, she said, in Strawberry Fields. Wow, in Liverpool, England today. It was great. Wow. I bet, Miranda. What a special soul on earth, right? Just wanted peace. Hi, Miranda. Again, it would have been Mahatma Gandhi's birthday, too. Wow. Whoa. Talk about another one that just wanted peace. Wow. Mrs. Shy Prono says, I feel all over the place mentally at the moment, and I don't know why. My birthday is October 17th, and that's a 5 of clubs, honey. And I'll come back and get you a card, but that's a 5 of clubs. And that's a real active date, actually. So a lot of people right now are feeling all over the place mentally. So you're in good company. See, it's not just you. It's a lot of people. In fact, I'd say the majority. Here we go. Melissa says, hi, Melissa. She says, energy and integrity. Is it true that living honestly and with integrity, much like the dogs do, allows one to lead by example? Yes, yes, yes. And then live out your true purpose. Yes, Melissa, that's accurate. That's actually accurate here. We are going to talk about that. And then she says, lived with a wife for 41 years and was constantly unstable all of her life and ready for a nervous breakdown. And if you're with somebody like this, that would be a tough way to go. That would be a very tough way to go. And yet I see a lot of couples living that out, actually. So it's kind of interesting. So let's see here. And hi, Sylvia. She says, Kellee, can I have a card? And I promise I'll come back from your husband who died in June. I'm sorry, honey. And it's also your birthday. Wow. It is also your birthday today. You know what? I'm going to break out the cards now, Sylvia. Hold on a second, because I can feel your husband. I can feel your husband. Like, okay, just break out the cards. Okay, I wasn't going to do this, but I am. Let's get one. It's very sweet. I wish I had told you more often how much I love you. He's sending you a big, big heart. Big heart. I've got chills. He loves you because I never break out these cards at the very beginning. And happy birthday to you, honey. He's definitely around you. He is definitely around you. So that was a good one. Hi, Donna Mae. Hi, Glow. Glow says, I'm working on changing perspectives and patterns that get in the way of my spiritual growth. And I will get you a card when I come back, Glow. But that's really important because that's how we grow, frankly, is changing our perspectives and our patterns. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Hi, Ricky. It's a good topic. And Rick, I was thinking what you said here. You said, I'm still trying to figure out my life purpose. So it could possibly be that many people, their life purpose in this particular life is to wake up. So that could be the purpose. It could be as simple as that, and I don't think that's a simple thing. I think it's a deep thing. In other words, to become deep. That could certainly be the purpose here, because when one person becomes aware and awake, and it has a deep free frame of spirituality, it affects everybody. So it's a really good purpose here. Hi, Leslie. Hi, Sasha. How are you? Hi, MB Shotzi. And hi, Carolyn East. She says, Kellee, hi, everybody. She says, can our life's purpose change as our soul evolves? Or do we incarnate with one purpose and we have a lifetime to get the job done? It's a great question. It can change and change and change depending on, see, every soul comes in for their own growth and they may come in and I am going to talk about Jane Goodall in a few minutes, but in her case, she knew immediately what her life purpose was. It was like she knew from the time she was little. She knew. She had a really strong idea about that. Not everybody does. I remember my daughter wanted to be a dolphin trainer, and now she's a therapist. What's the difference? Probably the same thing. But anyway, things change all the time. So you can definitely change. Your life purpose can change. It could certainly evolve. It could add things to it. So being on Earth, particularly this time, is pretty incredible. And thank you, Leslie. She says, press the like button for me. So I appreciate that, Leslie. Thank you so much. So I wanted to start a little bit and tell you something that maybe other people are needing to hear this tonight. So I kind of wanted to talk about this. That it was interesting. I think it was Friday, a little later in the afternoon. A dear friend of mine called and gave me a really. She was going through a really rough time, a really rough experience. And I hear a lot of stories all day long. I hear stories, and believe me, everybody's going through some really deep challenges right now. Everybody seems to be going through it, and they're not the usual typical ones. They're peppered with some really intense things that are going on in everybody's life. Strange things. So this one was a real strange thing, and it came out of the blue. And my dear friend called me on Friday and said, I need to talk to you about this. And it was a pretty rough story to hear. And I heard the story, and it was really on my mind. It was so on my mind. And on Saturday, it was so on my mind by the time I got to Saturday. I was that's all I could think of, because I really love this person. And all I could think of was this story. And the reason I'm telling you this is for anybody who needs to hear this. That night I went to bed and I had a dream. So I get a lot of messages in my dreams. And here's what the dream was. The dream was I was driving with my friend wherever. I was on a freeway. I was driving. And it was a very lucid dream, because in the dream, I was talking to her about that I knew that the other side was going to help us with this problem. And at that exact moment in my dream, I look over and I see on the opposite side of the freeway a car broken down. It wasn't just any car broken down. It was a silver Rolls Royce. And my mother used to drive a silver Rolls Royce for years, and it always broke down. It was always breaking down. So I turned to my friend in my dream in a very lucid way, and I said, oh, my mom is here with us. She's going to help us. That's a sign from her. That car broken down. And as I turned, I looked up, and there was my mother standing right next to me in this all silver. She was wearing all silver and big smile. And I screamed out loud, actually. And in fact, woke up Dawn and the dogs. And Dawn was trying to, I think probably calm me, because I was pretty screaming. I was screaming her name because I was so excited to see her. The reason I bring that up is when we're going through difficult circumstances and we have difficult situations and we think we're all alone or our loved ones don't care or whatever, that's absolutely bullshit. That is not true. They are there. They are with us. They are there with us. So please know that you may not see them. You may be in such a distraught state that you can't feel them around. They are there. And my mom let me know. And it was interesting because of all the silver that was going on. I couldn't get over the car was silver, which it actually was, but then my mom all in silver. So I looked up the meaning of silver, and it was really interesting. It was to dispel negativity and dispel evil, if there's evil out there. And it's a situation my friend was going through was pretty much that. And so it was so helpful, and it was just a reminder to everybody that our loved ones are always there, okay? Practice having faith on that one, because they are always there. The other thing that I wanted to talk about before we get into our living our life's purpose is I watched the other day the Jane Goodall Famous Last Words on Netflix. And if anybody gets a chance to watch that, you should. It was quite extraordinary. Jane Goodall is truly a master. And this was filmed in March of 2025. So 6 months ago, 7 months ago, it was filmed. And then she died, I think, September or October 1st. She died. When did she die? She just recently died. So they now you can see it. It was filmed to be shown after she passed away. And it was riveting, just riveting about her life with her as an icon and then her as the human being and what she went through, and her belief systems were really extraordinary. She was such an extraordinary soul who did know her life purpose. And no matter what, nothing was going to get in her way, whether it was a marriage, whether it was whatever it was not going to get in her way. She was just here to do that purpose. So it's really worth watching. And as I said, it's actually riveting. So I wanted to say that. And before I forget, this coming up Tuesday, the 14th of October, James and I have our show back on, and it's called You and the Universe. We're really excited about that. It's at, 5 p.m. Pacific time on October 14th is when we start. So it'll be on Tuesday. So Ann Margaret, if you're listening, it's on Tuesdays at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And it was kind of fun because James called me yesterday and he said, have you heard, honey, about this what is it called? A3131. Oh my God, I forgot what it was. The asteroid. I don't even think it was the asteroid. The comet. Was it the comet? I can't even remember now. Anyway, we're going to be talking about that. So we're going to have a lot of things to talk about on Tuesday, but we're really excited about that. So anyway, I wanted to talk tonight about, life purpose. And because people always say, Kellee, what's my life purpose? And frankly, it may just be something very simple that's maybe not simple, but it could be, if we think about it, like what leads us on our journey, like to find ourselves. Is it trauma? Often it is. Often we're running from this or we're running from that, or we're trying to figure something out. So that could lead us to our purpose. I know that all of the experiences I had led me to where I am now. If somebody had said to me early on, Kellee, you're going to be doing this, I'd be like, what? What? I wouldn't have understood it. And so often we all have to go through many things before we start to have that feeling that this feels like where I want to go. This is what I want to talk about. This is what I want to learn. This is where I want to help in the world. So that is one way to look at it. So often our life journey leads us to what our purpose is. So maybe, and just maybe, those experiences are leading you to find you. And that's a really important statement, because that is where the journey begins. It always begins with, where are we? And waking up is probably absolutely one of the life purposes. So it may be in this lifetime you chose to wake up, and what do I mean by that? Spiritually wake up. Like I'm having a understanding that there's more to this on earth than we think. There's more to this. It may be, and it's funny, if you start with so when you start to get conscious, you start to become conscious of your actions, you then look into, start with making good choices. What are your choices? Are you doing the right thing? I had a woman the other day that said to me that she had gone through so much trouble in her family. And she said, how did you avoid that? She said, I always did the right thing. And that stuck with me. If you always do the right thing, you're making good choices. And so aligning yourself with good choices often will take you to your authentic path. So you may be here to understand forgiveness. And that's a huge one, because the way Earth is set up right now with this kind of energy, as I said last week, and I'll remind people that it used to be that we would have lots of lifetimes to learn forgiveness, lots of lifetimes, whatever, or compassion, or whatever it happened to be. It doesn't feel that way now. Yes, we could still take all those lifetimes to get there, but it almost feels to me like the energy is set for doing your work now, instead of like, don't put off today what you could do later, or however that saying goes. So you may be here to have faith. Faith may be a huge one in your life, to learn faith, to have faith. That may be a huge one in your soul's growth and purpose. Because really, purpose is probably the wrong word. It's really the growth aspect. Because what the guides want to know in your higher self is how did you grow? That's what they want to know. How did you grow? Oh, you made a good choice. Yay. That's really how they think. You may be here to provide hope for others. I've always thought that was one of my things that was important to me, to give people hope, even in the roughest of times, which I think is where we are. And so hope is really, important, and it does spring eternal. And kindness. What if you are here to provide kindness to somebody? That could be it too. That could be so important. But if we start with, like in psychology, we look at a meaningful life. Like, how is a meaningful life achieved? So it can be achieved by, again, aligning your daily actions. So that means taking responsibility for your daily actions. And you combine that with your values, with what do you value? And then you put that along with long-term goals. So it could be, again, aligning your daily actions with personal values and long-term goals. And it can be, it's a process. It's not like, boom, all of a sudden, here we are. It doesn't work that way. It's a process and it's a practice. So how is that practice done? Maybe by cultivating relationships with people and having gratitude and self-reflection is really important here. And that's like essential practice for enhancing your life, actually. So cultivating good relationships, gratitude, and self-reflection. Like, I could have done better today, or I shouldn't have said that, or, like those are really important. So small intentional steps really lead to profound improvements here. And it's interesting because when I was in grad school, my background is as an existentialist. And one would think that it's opposite from spirituality, but in actuality, it's very, very similar. And so existential beliefs center on the idea that we create our own meaning and we create our own purpose in a universe that is inherently meaningless, and we have great responsibility to live authentically. Well, frankly, it's the same thing spiritually, if you ask me, because we are not, although we are not here necessarily arbitrarily here. We are here with meaning, to find meaning, and to take responsibility. So I think that's really important, and I think it's extremely important. So I do think that psychology and spirituality are deeply connected through this human search for meaning. And in the face, of existing, particularly existing now, which is what we have now. So again, finding meaning and purpose, I think, is important psychologically and spiritually. So how do we do that? First of all, we like some simple practices are to align with our daily choices with our soul purpose. Start by establishing maybe a mindful morning routine with positive affirmations. that could start your day with positive affirmations. Maybe do some, what do you have gratitude for? Gratitude is huge. Gratitude is pretty much everything. Some people start with breathing exercises. That's important too. But throughout the day, practice self-awareness. Where am I at this moment? Identify maybe what activities expand your energy and what constrict your energy. Certain people expand your energy, certain people constrict it. So start saying no to commitments that will restrict your energy or something that doesn't feel right, because you're practicing self-awareness. Self-awareness leads us to our soul purpose. When you get that experience of know thyself, you understand the direction to go in. Another thing is signs for the universe. That's part of that awakening, spiritual awakening. Signs from the universe. All of a sudden, you start seeing 1111 or 222 or any of the numbers that we've talked about many times. You might start seeing all of a sudden a dream of an animal. Look up the totem. Pay attention to your dreams. You also may have something that is like a sudden interest in something, because a guide, if there's enough willingness, enough openness, a guide might just drop a book in, or all of a sudden you may meet somebody that it connects, it resonates to you, and then you start lining up, but your purpose lines up. So there are a lot of ways that this can happen, but it all begins with that opening, that awareness of waking up with gratitude and going through just the ideas that I've talked about, which would be, am I here for an awakening? Am I here for faith? Am I here for hope? Am I here to, help children do something? Perhaps. Am I here to be a great artist? Perhaps. Only you're the one that's going to know that. Am I here to take responsibility to help my family? Perhaps. And that absolutely is noble. All of these things are noble because, again, your soul is growing. And that's the most important thing that can happen, especially at this time. I think it's just a very important time period that we're in for so many different reasons here, and it will help us all grow. So those are kind of some of the things that I wanted to say about that today. So let's see, where else was I going to go with all of this? I had so much more to say, and I did want to talk about the astrology that I went into what I was thinking about, but let's talk a little bit about the astrology too, because again, these energies are set in an interesting way right now. And I mentioned this last week, but it's worth mentioning again, that we have at this exact time, we have a Mars-Mercury conjunction, and that's in Vedic astrology, and it's in Libra, and it started on October 3rd, and it goes, frankly, it moves into Scorpio at the end of the month, but it goes right through to December 8th. Now, why is that important, this Mercury and Mars conjunction? It's important because it's called a planetary war. And when two planets are that close together, particularly these two, they're in Vedic astrology, they're natural enemies. And it means it's going to be a hard thing for communication. And so do I think the government shutdown in the United States will continue? I do think it will continue because of this. Now, another thing that is on on October 18th, we have a blessed kind of a situation, which is kind of interesting too, because we have so many rough energies. But then again, on October 8th, all the way to December 4th, we have Jupiter in Cancer, which is exalted, which brings some optimism here. So in the middle, again, I want to go with hope, because I think hope is important. Also, at the same time, because Earth has got a lot of energies going on right now. Also, at the same time, on October 13th, Pluto, which is the planet of transformation, will be going direct, and it's in Capricorn in Vedic astrology. And when it goes direct, it will bring out all of the qualities of transformation. So it will still have a huge impact on the United States, probably for several years. And Pluto is a planet of extreme. So its power, its control, and I think that, again, we're in a time period of transformation. So maybe your purpose when we go through these transformations is to help other people through them, to help to give, to help other people. It could be your purpose, frankly. A lot of people may have that during this period of time. These are really powerful times, and we sure need a lot of help. I think we need a lot of help. So also, I wanted to mention this before I forget. I have my Power of 10 on October 18th, and I still have a couple of slots left. So if you would like to join us, it's an extraordinary time. You can get it to me on kelleewhite.com/events, and everybody gets 10 minutes of personal time. And so it's where I really focus in on what's going on, and you can ask me any questions, and I go right into the energy of it. And people love it. It's really extraordinary. If you've wanted to work with me before this, it's an extraordinary event that I do. And I try to do it once a month. So this is October 18th. And before I forget, this Saturday, I'm really excited because I have my unusual crystal class. And my unusual crystal class is with Shauna McDonald. She owns the Crystal Shrine in Burbank, California, and she's an expert on crystals. What I'm really excited about there, we are going to be talking about some really unusual crystals and why are they coming out now? Why is it that we're discovering them now? Because we need them now. And one of the crystals I'm so blown away with because it's talking about the 8th chakra. So we're going to go into that. So I'm really excited about this class. So if you'd like to join us, it's at Central Time, 11 a.m. to about 1 p.m. It's like a 2-hour class on this Saturday. And if you can't join us live, if you purchase the class, we will be sending it to you so you wouldn't miss it. So anyway, that's a very exciting thing. And the other thing is the All Souls Retreat. I think we still may have some slots left on that. I don't know. That's November 7th to 9th, and I'm one of the speakers there. And it's in this beautiful place in Wisconsin. So I don't have to fly, but I'm excited about going. It's always, they have so many great workshops and everything. And then the last thing I have and then I'll get into my questions for everybody, is the Roots of Healing. And I do this once or twice a year. And this one's called Healing the Chaos Within. Dr. Shirley Pellizzari will be talking about, psychology and trauma and giving somatic tips to work with this. And Carrie Gonia does family constellation, and she's going to be illuminating how patterns in our families for generations. And she's going to be doing a family constellation, which is really extraordinary. And I'm going to be talking about karma and contracts. Where did we get stuck? Let's move this engine forward. Do the work. Kind of like I say now. That could be your mission in this lifetime. Do the family constellation work. You may be the one in the family that said, all right, I raise my hand. I'll do it. So here's some questions. Linda Rampelmeyer says, Kelly, I've been told my path a few times throughout the years, and I feel this is my path. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but she said, I would feel I've recently been freed from several years of caregiving. So caregiving may have been a path. Caregiving may have been. She said, now I'm older and I'm tired and I'm not sure I can pursue it with gusto anymore. If I don't, will I have to come back and try again? No, Linda, no. It sounds like you've done it. A+. Go enjoy your life. Go enjoy yourself. When you've been a caregiver for a long, long time, and that's been the identity, maybe your life purpose is now to find yourself. That's what I would say, Linda. Really. And Carlene Reese, hi, Carlene. She says, excited for the show tonight. I always ask, why am I here? Surely I have something I'm supposed to do. She said, sometimes I feel like I've come to break the cycle of sexual abuse. It was multi-generational. I ended that, but it was when I was a teenager. I imagine I have some more, yes. Well, first of all, breaking that cycle of sexual abuse, multi-generational, that's huge, Carlene. That's huge. Maybe you'll be helping other victims, other people, through your story or through, often through a connection like that, you could help somebody. So Carlene, really bravo. That is an enormous multi-generational trauma. It's huge. So God bless you, Carlene, for that. That's a big deal. And Laura Crum says, if we remember our purpose, like through memories, then is gratefulness, is that a key to our purpose? Absolutely. As we're thankful to those who brought us who we are. Yes, Laura, you absolutely are onto something. Practicing gratefulness may be the sole purpose. That as it's not as simple as it sounds, and it is simple, and yet it's mindful. So you have to be really mindful of that, and you are, Laura. You're one of the most mindful people I've ever met. You're mindful and you're kind, and mindfulness is so important. To be grateful for almost everything that we have is so valuable and so important. So thanks for that. Marie Bonetti, she says, I'm in need of finding my purpose at this stage of my life. We lost our only son and our only child. Our daughter-in-law, our daughter-in-law sold their house and moved to her home 735 miles away with our two grandchildren. I understand the move, but I know that there's more for me now and I need to find it. So Marie, there is more for you. Maybe understanding loss, understanding forgiveness, understanding compassion for what you went through, because frankly, that's a lot, Marie. That's a lot right there. And maybe, your identity as a mother who's had loss, and even with the grandchildren going on, that's a hardship. I've heard this, Marie, from other people. And maybe helping others through that. But finding yourself in this could be the purpose of finding yourself. Who are you? You're deep. You'd have to be very deep to go through all of this. It's deep. And then come out with no resentment. Maybe in a lifetime, people come in to have no resentment, to understand resentment and not to carry it, because it's such a low vibration. Maybe people come in to experience not to be judgy, right? Don't be critical, all those negatives, right? And because it's easy to go down a negative road, and maybe in this lifetime, many people out there are choosing not to go down that road. Because again, this is a lifetime. We can make different choices. We don't need to come back and experience negativity again if we get the lesson. After the first 50 times we got it. I'd say we get it the first time, but usually it takes people a long time to get lessons. Hi, Ann Rogers. She says, can you have more than one purpose as you live, grow, and graduate? You betcha. Again, we're constantly evolving and constantly growing, and that's really, really important here. And there's always, just when you think, oh, I've learned it all, which I'm joking, it's not possible. Boom, we got another situation. Oh, I have to learn faith again. Oh, I have to learn forgiveness. Oops, I have to learn. So there's like layers of things here. Now, maybe your life purpose is as a teacher. Maybe your life purpose is as a healer. Those are also come into play with everything you learn. But I think the basics are the most important. Were you loving? Were you kind? Did you forgive? Were you compassionate? Were you empathic? Did you help when you could have? Also, maybe you come to learn boundaries, because boundaries, very important to learn boundaries on Earth, so you're not taken advantage of. So maybe that's a soul purpose. Do you see where I'm going with all of this? So it's all deep stuff. So you do want to watch how your boundaries. I think boundaries are really important. And family dynamics. Maybe you come in to understand family dynamics, which I'm always puzzled by. I think most families are dysfunctional. I'd say all, but I'll just say all. Okay, hi, Leslie. She says on October 4th, just of 2025, so just recently, my beautiful cat Tyson was hit by a car in the front of my building. I'm so sorry, Leslie. She said, I miss him dearly. I also feel such guilt. He was a bossy type with a big personality, and I spoiled him very much. Oh, Leslie, I don't get the sense that he doesn't blame you at all. I think he went out. I think he had a big personality and went out. And I don't think you could have done a darn thing. Do not feel guilt. Do not feel guilt, honey. He doesn't want you to feel guilt. Let's get you a card here. Oh, that's interesting. I have no more earthly worries. I wonder, was he a little worried about things, or are you worried about things? Maybe that's it. Maybe it's you. I think you're supposed to take really good care of yourself, Leslie. That's my thought on this. I think you're supposed to take really, really, really good care of yourself with everything. So I think it's important that you do that. Sasha says, blessings and thank you for today's stream. This is a subject that relates to a lot of us in today's world. I hope even at my age of 48, I can learn what my purpose is. I hope and pray. So Sasha, just start lining yourself up with your values. What do you value? What's important to you? Again, is it helping others? And then what happens is I didn't even align into my, really to what I'm doing here, probably until I was 60. And I really mean that. I mean, I started off, had a whole different life, went through all these experiences, became a medium because I had a head injury, but worked through all of that, then went back to grad school and kind of knew that I wanted to combine the two. And it was a work in progress. It wasn't just it took some time. So you only at 48, Sasha, you're on your road. Don't even worry here. And Renee says, Kellee, I'm not able to put your book down. You are so sweet. Thank you. And you said something in a comment that I read about in my book about the pigeons. Yeah, it's true. I was in Europe. I was in Venice, and I was with now ex-boyfriend, and a pigeon just fell from the sky in between us, dead, just dropped in between us. And that was before my head injury. And I had no idea my life was going to go whoop, totally different. And I remember I said to the waiters, I was like, it's dead. It just died. And they're like, yeah, morte. I'm like, yeah, I know. What happened? This must happen all the time. And they go, no, and it never happens. And I said, oh, come on. It's got to happen all the time. How long have you been here? The first guy's like 10 years. Second guy's 15 years. The other guy's like 30 years. We've never had this happen. Anyway, I had a feeling that was some message. And this was before I even had a head injury. I was like, whoa, that's a weird omen there. So pay attention to omens. And so how do we wake up to find our life purpose? Through experiences. And again, making good choices, becoming self-aware. That's how you do it. You have to become self-aware. Once you get to that self-aware place, you start knowing. You just know. You get very peaceful. It's a peaceful place. You get peaceful. And then it starts to come to you. I want to do this. I want to do that. And then little by little, you just start to do that. Let's say you wanted to become a healer. Maybe you'd start working with healers. Maybe you'd start taking classes. Hi, Sandy. I'm looking forward to seeing you at our event. Okay. Linda K says, my boy will be gone 6 years on Saturday. May I have a card? You bet. Let's get you a card. I send you loving signs through nature. So that's another thing. So when all this started happening to me, I was like not really a nature person. And I didn't even understand the concept. I mean, I was on the 405 in traffic, and I'd see a hawk flying over, and I think, oh, that's nature, I really did not have a clue until I actually settled here on the farm in Wisconsin. And then I understood the great connect of know thyself, going out in nature, hugging a tree, feeling the energy in such a profound way. So please go outside, especially while you can, while the weather is nice. Go outside, touch a tree, just look at the birds. Those are the kind of things that bring us to a place of groundedness, which is important, and seeing signs from the universe. Because when we're running and in pain and suffering and fear, we will miss everything. And that's the whole point, is like releasing that pain body as Eckhart Tolle talks about. And that's when you start to know thyself and understand that there's a bigger reason why you're here. We can call it a purpose. I feel it may even be simpler than that. Just maybe, again, any of the key components: forgiveness, kindness, love. Maybe you're here to experience love. That is the purpose. Maybe that's it, or what love is not. So you learn to take care of the self-worth. Maybe self-worth is why you incarnated. So I have that a lot for people when they come in to see me. I do soul readings with spirit guides, and the spirit guide will go right into. That's a really good session for people, actually. The spirit guides go right into why you incarnated, what you're supposed to do, what you're working through. Spirit guides, they know the answer. They have it right there for you. So I think that's important. Thank you, Ann Rogers. I love those flowers too. Let's see. Joanne says, Kellee, I wanted to connect today because tomorrow's your birthday. Oh, Joanne, happy birthday to you. And so if your birthday is tomorrow, that makes you a Queen of Clubs. So Queen of Clubs they know everything about everything, and they're great healers. So let's get you an angel number card I love this deck. This angel number, I love this deck. I'm having the most fun with this deck here. Let's see here. Let's get you an angel number there, Joanne. Okay, here we go. Ooh, 4444. How great is that? This is the best card you could have, actually. Triumph. I love the numbers. So again, when I had my head injury and I went through this road, it was a heck of a road. I started seeing all kinds of things, but numbers were ever present. I would see all these different numbers, and I'd start to see colors everywhere. So all of those kind of things that happened led me to where I am now. So again, it's a road. It's a totally interesting road, but you have to be aware. And just the fact that you're listening here, you're aware. You're starting to become aware of things. That's my goal, is to help people get aware, to really help them on this spiritual journey. Because at the time when I had my situation, I was like trying to find somebody to help me, and thank God I found James. Really, because it was a big thing what was happening to me. Let's see, Slobenka, hi from Melbourne. Hi there. I don't know, Bailey, if your nephew will pass his plumbing test. Did he study hard? I hope so. And Margaret, I would love a card tonight. Something is in the card today that is really bizarre, and I never typed this for years. You're right. Let me get you a card, honey. We'll get you a card here. Ooh, sounds like, Ann Margaret, you're in for an adventure. 1414. Probably what you don't want to hear. But life, it throws us curveballs to see where we are with this. You may, going forward, let's say you get thrown a curveball. And right now, there's so many curveballs going out. So let's say you get thrown a curveball. So if in this curveball, are you going to respond the way you used to respond? Are you going to respond differently? You have to sit back and think. I mean, all of these are learning adventures for everybody right now. Elisa, yes, you can have a card, and you are July 1, and July 1st is Ace of Spades. Deep transformation is what I would say. Ooh, there's a reward for you. 88. Oh my gosh. And Elizabeth, hi, Elizabeth Preston. I'm going to get you a card, honey, because you have been through a lot. Let's see. Ooh, 77, purpose. 77, purpose. Remember that show, 77 Sunset Strip? I don't know why I just thought of that when I thought 77. Okay, hi, Crystal Cook from New Zealand. Yes, a card for your son. He was born on October 27th, and he's struggling to find his path. So let's get him a card, October 27th. So October 27th is an 8 of Hearts, and let me explain that. It is about emotions. It's about emotions. They often become therapists, or they do something in groups to help people. And it's always understanding the power of emotions. So your son will get there. Your son will get there. And let's get you a card from your Your dad says we will be together again. And here's what I would take on that. If you go out into the water, I bet you'll feel his presence. And you're in New Zealand, so that's probably a lot easier to do. There you go. Marie Crane, you're watching from the hospital bed. Well, I'm sorry you're in a hospital bed. And thank you for watching. Let's get you a card, Marie. Here we go. Ooh, symbiosis. 1221. 1221. But you know, Marie, it's really interesting. My sister has a house on an island. And today, a crane showed up on her front porch. And she said, "What is that?" I said, "That is a connection to the higher, to heaven. It's a different connection here." Marie says, "Is my son Brian okay in heaven?" Well, of course he is. Of course he is, Marie. Oh, I got chills. He says, "Please don't worry or hold on to guilt. My death is painless." Okay? Please, no, he's fine. He's absolutely fine. Hi, Christy Oucher. Let me get you a card, honey. How are you, honey? There is no such thing as death. I love that it's the truth. There is no such thing as death. We're here for a small amount of time. It feels like a long time, but we're really not. Hi, Angie Mia from Australia. Hi, Grace from the UK. Hi, everybody. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Melissa says, my best friend's mom passed on September 21st. Oh, absolutely. And she passed from Alzheimer's. And so I want everybody to know something. When you pass from Alzheimer's, the moment you leave your body, you don't have Alzheimer's. Okay, it's just held. It's held here. Whenever I work with a client who comes to me for mediumship, and the mother or the father passed, and they or husband or whoever it happened to be had Alzheimer's, the first thing that I hear is, "I'm sharp as a tack," or "I'm good," or I remember everything, and I'm like, "What?" And it turns out often it's from Alzheimer's they passed. So here, I see all of your thoughts. There you go. So you tell them not to worry. They see all of their thoughts. Okay. Let's see. Linda Thomas says, looking for a change. It's been a long stretch of health speed bumps. A lot of people, Linda, are going through a stretch of health speed bumps. I like the way you phrased that. I'm going to remember that, because it's a time period for that. A lot of people are dealing with the things they have to deal with now. Okay. And she said, I met Jane and she changed my life. Wow, I've got chills, Linda. So Jane Goodall changed your life. Wow. Oh, what a wonderful life she chose. I agree. And Linda, make sure you watch that documentary. It's riveting. I sobbed at the end of it. I just sobbed. Oh, God, it's just riveting. Okay, Nancy Roper says, I'm curious to know if you see anything with my new hobby, psychic mediumship. Well, let's see. So, Nancy, if it's a new hobby, learn everything you can. So March 14th, learn everything you can. Your birthday was right between the two eclipses this year, and I would think that would bring out a big thing of mediumship, actually. March 14, 9 of diamonds. Oh, for sure. 9 of diamonds are very, very, very psychic. You have to really work at it. Again, some people, maybe in this lifetime, something suddenly comes into their life to learn about, to do. And that might be one of the avenues of soul purpose, reaching and learning everything that you wanted to learn. So I know for me on this path of spirituality, this is not my first rodeo in this lifetime. I know that this has gone on for a lot of lifetimes to get me here. That I do know. So it's not just, and I worked hard on it, and I continue to work hard on it in this lifetime. And it's not work. When you find some passion, and that's the other thing, if you're passionate about something, that it could be a life purpose right there. What are you passionate about? That used to be the old thing that we would say, what are you passionate about? And that can take us down a road. To me, it's almost simpler than that. It's, are you good? Are you kind? It goes to me, it goes to those kind of things when we think about a purpose. But okay, Judy says, Kelly, having great days with lifting my spirits in my birthday month on Halloween. So Halloween is a very special day to be born. And that's a 4 of hearts. 4 of hearts tend to be family oriented, or often they'll have, and marriage oriented, family and or marriage oriented, or both. They tend to have to come in for that. Okay, so hi Karen and the Kellites. You're so funny, Karen. That's great. I love that you said that. Thank you. Jamie says I've been feeling my loved ones that passed away lately. Also, I'm sure there's an energy about that, Jamie. I'm glad you said that. That again, pay attention to your dreams because there is some. I promise they're there, watching us, helping us, sending us loving thoughts. Sometimes we're too agitated or in fear or shock or sadness or grief or just plain busy and not even thinking about it. But always know that they're there. Okay. Isn't that a good story, Laura, of help? Oh my God. Charlene says, Kelly, that's really wild. She says, I was wondering if our loved ones know when we are going through hard times. Happy to know that they are always with us. I have chills. Charlene, they're always with us. I mean, literally, this story that I was helping my friend with was pretty rough. And for me to say that, that's a lot because I hear a lot of rough stories. This one took it over the edge. And I didn't even think, honest to God, at that time when I heard the story and I was perseverating over it, it didn't dawn on me even to say, Mom, I need some help. I think I was so in the pain body of it, I couldn't think straight. So when she appeared, my mom appeared, I was like, well, that's a message for everybody to know. Like, we could be in the thick of it. They're still there. They're watching us in the thick of it. We may not feel it, them, or even think about them because we're in either, fear, despair, or any of it. I assure you, they're always there. Now, I know after I hit my head and everywhere I went, all I saw were dead people, angels. They were all around everybody. And it's not that I forgot that. I think about it all the time. But it was great to have that experience with my mom in a really, rough situation. So Linda says, yes, everyone I speak with, so many situations. Love the dream about your mom. I feel my loved ones and they do guide you. Yes, they do. And James' beliefs were amazing. It's the truth. Right, Brenda? Everything. Oh, good, Sandy. You're going to come. I'm looking forward to seeing you. Okay, so let's see. What else? So Laura Sherberg says, Kelly, my mother passed away in May of 2008, the time my life was turned upside down, and her loss has been tremendous in my life. I've not dreamt about her or found any messages from from your mother, Estelle. So I've got chills. Lori, now listen, I hear that very clearly. I know that. I almost never, maybe 5 times have had a dream about my mom. I don't know how that even is. I used to think, oh, I'll see her all the time. But I'll tell you what, instead I feel her. This was so different the other day. But let's get you a card, Lori. Here. Tears cleanse the soul. So, Lori, let me ask you a question here. Interesting card for you. Tears cleanse the soul. Are you holding on to anything? Because I hear you say that your life was turned upside down. Are there a lot of emotions about that? Often when we're cracked open emotionally, that's where we feel the most. And all of a sudden those dreams start popping in. So allow yourself to feel the sadness or feel the feels, whatever it is, because your mom is definitely around you, Lori. They don't just pass and toddle off. Well, maybe some people. I'm planning to toddle off, but not just kidding. I probably won't. And Holiday, I'm just kidding. Anyway, Christy says, thank you, Kelly. My daughter's birthday was the 5th, and I really struggled. Yeah, I promise you, talk about Christy. Your daughter is such an adventurer. She's such an adventurer. She would never leave her family. Okay, please remember them saying that. Oh, I got chills. She's totally around. So Christine says, can you please explain what happens to our pets when they go to heaven, and do they wait for us? Yes. So some pets, some I've seen, reincarnate. They'll come back to you in a different form. Sometimes that happens, but they will always wait for us also at the same time, if that makes any sense. They will always be there. And in fact, Jane Goodall says, it was so good. She was asked, one of the questions was, she was married twice. Do you want to see your husbands when you get to the other side? And she said, no. I started laughing so hard. She said, no. She said, I really want to see my mom and my beloved chimps and my dogs, my animals. And a lot of people, so we'll be having those experiences. Of course, you'll see your animals again. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Always know that one. Okay. Hexican Mama says, my mom was one of those who always did the right thing, always. So if you have somebody in your life that always does the right thing, it's really great because then you can follow as an example. And that's a really great one. Lisa Phillips says, to quote my mother, with every endeavor, consider the consequences. Right on, Lisa. She's very, very wise. Hi, Susie Wright. I mean, that's so important. So Danka says, my 80th birthday is on 10/19, and I still don't know what your purpose in life is. Well, 10/19 is a 3 of clubs. It's to be using your energy in a creative way. 3 of clubs is always about what do we create, whether it's we can create all kinds of things. Can we create drama? Yes. Can we create beauty? Yes. Can we create peace in the heart? I would say that would probably be a huge one with the 3 of clubs. They're always, actually, they're wildly intuitive too. Really wildly intuitive. Maybe use your intuition. Tap into that. That could be, in fact, that is a main reason why people come to Earth, to understand their intuition, to actually use their intuition. We all have it, but some people are so shut down they forget and they don't think. And anyway, so things you can see, there's so many purposes in life. Amy Van Zest says, if our soul grows the way we're supposed to spiritually in this life, does our soul choose a harder life next time around? Great question. Not necessarily, no. In fact, if you choose a real deep spiritual life, probably no reason to come back to Earth unless you really want to come and be a master here to help change. Like Jane Goodall would have been a master here. There's no doubt in my mind. She came in, she knew, and she did it. So I think that doesn't mean that life will get more difficult. No, you come to Earth to learn. And then what you ultimately learn is no matter what is thrown at you, whatever it is, you're in a place of understanding and wisdom. It's a different chakra. It's actually the 8th chakra when you get to that place. It's a different place. So you can always come to Earth to constantly learn and grow. But I suspect after a while, you might go somewhere else, is my thought. I hope, Ann Margaret, this conversation is helpful, really. Susie says, I believe my entire life purpose is my love and kindness for animals. Does that count? You betcha, Susie. I was thinking about that, actually. Let me get a card from your grandson, because I have chills. Oh, okay, Susie. Seriously? I am surrounded by loving animals. Yeah, does that I hope you know that's your purpose here. For sure, that's your purpose. I mean, absolutely. I mean, people come in for doing that. Wow. So Amy says, Christy, my daughter passed as well. I try not to question the signs. Just thank her, and then you will see her more and more on a tough journey. Yes, you thank her, and I promise the girls are there. The girls are there. Carlene says, I love it when you post affirmations. Thank you. Me too. Rick says, Kelly, while walking the dogs in the woods each morning this summer, I saw a wide variety of animals and birds. But this summer, I did not see any rabbits. Well, this week, I thought about that, and I saw a rabbit. See, I love the way you're thinking. You thought about it? So that's an awareness. And then you started seeing. I remember, Rick, when you saw that owl. Wasn't it an owl? It was kind of a wild story. So keep looking, because the animals represent so much for us, and they give us wisdom, and they give us all kinds of signs, So I think that's, hi, Judy Snyder. So your birthday is 10/7. Happy birthday to you. And 2 of diamonds, and a 2 of diamonds can be about creativity and power in a couple and success in business. So it has a lot of meanings to that, Judy. But it's good to see you. Christy says it's the hardest. It really is good at showing me. Sometimes I think I am imagining. No, you're not, Christy. You're not imagining it. She's there. Oh my God, Gayla, good. You signed up. I'm so glad. Oh, Deborah, looking forward to the crystal class. It's going to be really, really exciting, this crystal class. on Saturday at 9 a.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. Central, 12 o'clock Eastern, etc., etc. If you would like to join us this Saturday, it's going to be a really interesting class. We are going to talk about the 8th chakra. We're going to talk about all of these really unusual crystals that I had never heard of before. We're really excited about that. And Shauna's, she's brilliant with crystals, so it's going to be really fun. So everybody, thank you so much. Now join James and I are going to start our class on Tuesday, our new show, You in the Universe. It's going to be really great. So please join us this Tuesday. Look for we're going to put some ads out and you'll see a lot of social media on it. So we're really excited about this. I love working with James. I'm so excited to have my buddy back. Anyway, everybody, have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.
You've been listening to Ask Me Anything, featuring spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kellee White.